where we would find it on albums or maybe MTV. There's YouTube, which is deep, wide, and vast of information, videos, visual, and they can learn. Going back to learn some of this Van Halen stuff, like if you want to play like Page or Eddie Van Halen, the information is there, note for note, tabbed out, and they have a speed, the adjustable speed on the video.
Really?
There's no limits on the information you can get. Because of the way radio is and the internet, rock is really taking a back seat to everything. And hopefully it won't become this footnote like blues or jazz, like genre specific, and only those people like it. But the rest of the world really listens to pop and hip hop.
Hey there, this is the Red Monkey Podcast. My name is Tori, and I will be your host. This is a podcast about embodying the spirit of rock and roll, creativity, and combining the two to create just absolute cool, badass rock and roll stuff. Keep listening, and we'll get a lot of stories from a lot of really cool people. Thanks for tuning in. Bro.
Yes, sir.
You're amazing. Thank you for popping in.
Yeah. It's no sweat. I live a mile up the road, literally a mile up.
We're neighbors.
Road. Yeah, we're
Love
neighbors. And anybody that's a friend of Kushner's is a friend of mine.
Awesome.
So,
and I love that. Thank you.
Actually, I've been around Red Monkey for years and just never met you yet. So
I don't know why our paths haven't crossed. I have no idea.
I think like back in 2000 or just thereafter. No, it was probably more like 2003 or 4. Yeah. I was working on Melrose and I would see Red Monkey, and then Jimmy Ashurst, our former bass player, had your straps.
Yeah.
So, and I'd see it online and all that. But,
And I'm like, why didn't he tell you about the straps? But a lot of these guys don't want to tell. They don't want to share.
Yeah, they don't want to share.
They don't want to share.
Exactly it.
And I'm like, come on, guy.
Jimmy, you're so selfish if you're watching this. So
yeah, I can't believe our paths haven't crossed. I mean, I can. There's a lot of musicians out there. I've made a lot of stuff for a lot of people, but there's so many dudes that I'm like, even if they don't like my stuff, that's cool. It's just like, at least how come our paths haven't crossed? We haven't met, And so
no, I'm a fan. I just never met you. Everyone was keeping it to themselves.
Oh, well, here we are. The cat's out of the bag.
Anyway, so now here I am. I had the opportunity. I'm taking it.
I always said for years and years, I was like, yeah, we're the most famous unknown brand, because people would be like,
yeah,
even after 10 years, 15 years, like we're now going into 30, it'd be like, Red Monkey?
That's crazy.
What's that? And I'm like, well, let me see.
Well, I've definitely heard of you. I know a lot of people have heard of you, so at least in the music world. So
well, we try, we get around,
the live thing. So,
well, so tell me, how long have you've been in Buckcherry since 2005?
2005, or a little before. The way it all started was I was roommates with Josh, our singer, long before, in the early 90s, when we were just kids. We had an apartment together, and then went our separate ways after a few years, and then reconnected years later. He was signed to Buckcherry, or they were signed to DreamWorks, and I was in a band that was on Warner Brothers, and then we met up again. So fast forward, they do a couple albums. I was dropped from Warner Brothers, and he needed a guitar player. Well, he needed a tour manager, actually. And so we met back in Texas, and I started tour managing, ended up being the guitar player in his solo band. And then that deal closed. And then literally 2-3 weeks later, I got a call from Keith Nelson saying they were going to put Buckcherry back together for a show at the Key Club. Would you be interested in playing guitar? And of course I said yes.
Of course.
So, and that's where it all kind of started.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you from Texas?
No, I'm from Chicago. I was out here, chasing the big dream.
Of being a musician or being an actor?
No. A musician. I came out here And I kind of got in the wrong crowd right away.
Oh, yeah. As LA
Spun
can
out.
do.
Yeah,
Sure.
spun out, and then ended up in rehabs in the Midwest in
Plural?
Chicago. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I said I'd never come back to California.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine that was in a band, American Pearl, they were on Wind Up. His name's Kevin Rankin. They were looking for a guitar player to go tour in Japan. And because of work, I mean, it's an awful place to be if you don't have a gig, LA.
LA and New York.
Yeah.
Or a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, okay, it's a gig and we're going to tour. So I ended up coming back here for rehearsals in 2000. So,
wow.
Yeah.
There's something about LA that keeps pulling.
They just when you thought you're out, they pull you back in.
We had left after 20 years.
Oh, yeah? Where are you from?
Oregon originally. Small town up in Oregon. And I thought, I did my bit.
Yeah, we're headed there. Eugene, no.
You're going to play
Spokane.
Eugene? Oh, Spokane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Miles Kennedy territory, I think.
Yeah. He's great. Amazing.
He's going to be on. As soon as he's back in LA, he's
going to be on?
Yeah.
Well, tell him I said hello and that I love him. I'm a big fan.
Oh yeah, I will. He's like one of the nicest guys. Like
so talented.
Oh, insane.
I've never really hung out with him, but like I've heard him sing several times, and there's like that guy has there's nothing he can't do.
No, and he's
guitar
insane,
and he sings,
insane guitar player.
Yeah,
we're crushing on Miles Kennedy. Miles, where are you
Miles,
at? We need Miles in our life.
So yeah, I joined.
Came back to LA, which is not. I mean, LA's a tough place. Being a musician's a tough place. Like
it's just a tough place
in general. Trying to be sober, it's a tough place. I mean, all of it.
It's like, shit. I'm at this point. I'm sober, like 6 months, and I'm a raw nerve. I'm everything is. I've never done anything sober, so I'm going into this terrified out of my mind.
Sure,
but with my mouth shut, and because I never really toured with being sober, playing guitar, anything, I barely knew how to balance a checkbook at that point. I had all these life skills I had to learn or relearn, and I'm in this new band, record deal, and go get 'em, Tiger. So
wow.
That and then 9/11 happened, so it was short lived, but I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And
And so then you found yourself back in LA as your home base.
Yeah, I was instead of living in Hollywood, I was living in North Hollywood.
Okay.
Very different. And then
and way different back then than it is now.
Yeah. And then I started working odd jobs on Melrose.
Okay.
Again, that's what I did before, and I knew just you got to get the hustle on. Whatever you need to do to
pay the bills,
make that rent.
Yeah.
So
we always talk about I came to LA in 92.
Yeah.
And I was able to. I had a small studio. No, I had 2 roommates for the first year, and then I got a small studio apartment. Mm-hmm. And man, I was eating. I'd make a box of rice.
Yeah.
I would eat that all week, like and throw some veggies in there. And I mean, that it was, but I was able to work at Music Plus.
Oh, okay.
And get by. Barely get by. Could you do that now? Could you come to LA now and
it's so different now. Like, I don't know. I think they're paying people differently. There's a minimum wage that's much higher, but rents now are astronomical. I don't know how anyone does it. Like, if I were to do it again, I wouldn't leave Chicago. The internet is so vast, and I think that you can make it from anywhere because of the internet. Yeah. Like, you don't have to be in LA or New York. I don't know about fashion, but I'm sure it's different that way.
Yeah.
I would imagine acting, you'd have to be here. You know. Nashville is a big hub now.
Well, as LA's gotten more expensive, I mean, there's been, and I don't know if that's the full reason, but I know a lot of dudes that have like split. They've gone to Vegas.
Oh,
they've gone to Nashville. Like they're just
after the pandemic, I think they were rethinking the whole LA thing.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people that went to Idaho, Wyoming, Vegas, Arizona, Texas, especially. I don't think anyone needs to be here to make their dreams happen.
So I want to step back. You didn't just get into a band. You didn't just where did you learn how to play guitar? How did that start? How old were you?
I was always playing guitar. My mom had me in piano and band in school. I was a trumpet player.
Okay.
We had guitars in the house.
So you came from a musical family.
Well, I don't know that we were necessarily a musical family. My dad did play piano, but it wasn't like there was tons of music around the house. I was a pop radio baby.
But you had instruments.
Yeah, I had
guns. We had guns. I grew up we didn't have music.
Awesome.
You know what I mean? So
I think somewhere in junior high or high school, I had a buddy that could play a whole lot of Rosie note for note. And I was locked, so I started learning AC/DC. I had another friend that was super into Jimmy Page and Hendrix and could do that note for note. And so I finally found I was in guitar lessons before, but I really found my guitar in high school. And I went to lessons at the local rock warehouse.
Okay.
Took lessons from the guy named Lenny. And he was teaching anything from Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Yngwie Malmsteen.
All the really easy stuff to learn.
Yeah. Which I found out that I'm playing a lot of the Van Halen stuff wrong. I just did a memorial show at the Whiskey, and I had to play a couple Van Halen songs. And so I was like, let me just review. I go to YouTube University and how to play Unchained. And I've been doing it wrong. Instead of 4 counts, there's a 5 count, and that, and the picking pattern's different. And anyway, I learned to play the basics and soloing. I got my heart broken in high school. So I just went in and woodshedded for a year, over a heartbreak. And I learned how to shred, basically Randy Rhoads and Michael Schenker. And then I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to make it, so that was the start of all that.
Did you, at that point, okay, so you had hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
Inspiration, motivation, but did you ever imagine that, here you are 20 years into Buckcherry, that you would actually
it's funny, there's a lot of stuff now about manifesting and visualizing. Yeah. And a few years back, I got into a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza. And some years before that, I got into, right before Buckcherry, I was doing this kind of program with Tony Robbins. And I don't know if it was me being naive or the visualizing really works or the stars aligned, but I remember doing that program with Josh, and literally halfway through the program, they have you list everything that you want out of
Tony Robbins program?
Yeah, out of this experience, And I made a list. It was pretty conservative. And in 6 months, I had all of it. I was like, guitar is not to worry about the first anymore. Eat whatever I want, whenever I want. I want to eventually buy a house, all these things, a new car. And I had all that. But yeah, did I ever think, I think leaving Chicago, I believed in it. I believed I could. I said to myself, I was 18 and dumb or naive, and I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be the youngest guy in my hometown to ever make something of himself. Little did I know it would literally take me 10 more years. They say that thing about 10,000 man hours. Like hitting what you want to do
for mastery.
Yeah. And I always knew it, but I just didn't know how I was going to do it. You know what I mean? I just kept, nose to the grindstone. And when there was an opportunity, just say, yes, I'll be there, I did get mixed up with the wrong people, doing a lot of drugs, drinking a lot, and that just took me out of the game.
Sure.
And then
it derailed you momentarily.
Yeah, it derailed me for a good 7 years. I had to get sober. I mean, that was the most important thing, and that was really the thing that was keeping me from doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like right when I stepped off the boat here in Hollywood, I got an opportunity to go play with Ozzy, go play with the Chili Peppers. And I was wasted showing up at those auditions. Had I not, who knows, but I know that once I got sober, more opportunities started coming my way.
Sure.
And then I eventually, said, yes, I will show up to the Buckcherry rehearsal to do that show.
Do you think subconsciously you were, because you're tapping into a whole world that Rosie, my partner, she's health and wellness, and so it's a whole world that I'm familiar with through osmosis.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe you were just getting in your own way? You weren't ready for the success?
I know I wasn't ready for it.
Like you didn't know it. You were just, you know what I mean?
I was fear kind of sabotaging.
Self-sabotaging inadvertently.
It could be. I know I was in a lot of fear. I know that there was a lot of stuff that I hadn't worked through. Like, here we go. It's there's a lot of childhood experiences.
Sure.
That you need to uncover, discover, and discard. That's how I know Dave, by the way.
Okay. Gotta unpack all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. She helped me unpack all that stuff, work through it. And then it's funny, as soon as I did all that and let that go and ready to receive what's next, the world opened up for me.
Really?
Like then the next 10 years, it was very different for this, guy from the Chicago suburbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I find it super interesting because I always have wondered, have seen, I've known a lot of dudes throughout the years, and I'm not a sober guy. I don't really drink that much, but I've got a lot of like sober friends and people that should be sober, people that have passed away. I mean, all of it. And dudes were just standing back from afar, and I'm like, man, if you could just get it together a little bit, you would be so fucking successful.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. There's a lot of guys that there's millions that need it, but there's they say around the rooms, you got to want it. And you got to want it just a little more. And it's the most difficult thing, getting sober. But for me, is the most difficult thing, but the most rewarding.
Sure.
I wouldn't have. I'm a dad now, and
That's awesome.
I got to do all the stuff I wanted to do in my music career.
Perfect.
So,
I mean, that's what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do that loaded.
Totally. How do you manage being a musician, fatherhood, keeping the creative juices going, I call it catching the flow, like if you're like, let's say you're in the middle of, writing, but I've got nieces that, they require a lot of attention. Like when they're around, I'm like, God, if they were here full time, or I had my own kids, I'd be like,
it's not easy. It's like,
how do you find that balance? Do you just have to say, if I'm locking myself away and if the door's shut, like?
Well, I mean, I delegate. It's scheduling, like, okay, right now I know that my son Jet will be in school till 2:30.
How old is he?
10.
10. Okay.
Yeah.
Good age.
Yeah. Awesome. And then he's got, he's this super into baseball. He's in travel ball. So it's all about scheduling, like touring. Touring is one thing, but when I'm home, that's a whole different animal. Like I have to wear different hats all the time, So like right now, he's in school. I can come hang out with guys like you, But once 2:30 rolls around, then I'm super dad, Like the music is on hold. Let's say I'm working on a composition for sync music or for Buckcherry, or I work with some country guys too. Whatever the music is, it has from the minute I wake up or drop jet off to 1:30, and then I have to put it down and then handle being a dad, because that to me is the real reason why I'm here on the planet. Like I got to do the music. And, but now it's my job to responsibly raise a good young man.
I love that. I love that. That's great. That's good to hear.
Anyway, it's not easy. And the toughest thing about touring is being away, I remember I was getting divorced in, I think it was, it was 2019. And I was on tour in Europe, and I was really upset about not knowing what's going on with my son. And I was on this bus, and I remember saying this prayer, like, and I'm not a religious guy, and I was just like, I just want, like, I love my life, I love this job, but I just want to be home with my son.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, 2020 happens. And for the next year and a half, I was with him every waking moment, careful what you wish for. So, but yeah.
Or be happy what you wish for. I mean,
Yeah.
You manifested that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a powerful manifester, it sounds like.
It's funny you should say, lately this past year, I haven't been. I remember meditating, like Dispenza's got this app for meditation.
I was going to ask if you meditated.
Yeah. So I did I do the whole TM thing. I went up to, actually he's in the business too. But I went up to this house and with a bunch of David Lynch people, the foundation, they taught me how to do TM. And then I found Dispenza and I did that app from the long version or the 2 20-minute versions in the day. And life is amazing. And then somewhere along the way, it stopped. I feel like it stopped working. You know what I mean? So I had like this resentment that, fuck that stuff. It doesn't work, but, I forget that whole, from 2005 through 2017, life was like amazing, Anyway, I don't know. I got to figure out the cocktail. I got to get that right on, I feel like I'm pretty jaded at this point with the way life's gone in the last few years, but.
Well, I mean, listen, we've all had a bunch of, the last few years have been kind of crazy times, ups and downs for all different kinds of people in all different kinds of avenues of the world, and that's the hard part, is keeping that creative, the creative juices going and flowing, because at the end of the day, that's really what, as creatives keep us going. The business side of it, the paying the bills and all that's all just bullshit. At the end of the day, it's like,
it's difficult though. Like when you are paid to be creative, so
you gotta show up.
Like you need to have in order to sell a certain thing, you have to, let's say, create in a certain way that they expect you to, right?
Yeah.
So let's say they want watch bands that or guitar straps that fit a certain lifestyle and certain band, but you're feeling one day a little extra creative that is more, like, say, 70s inspired instead of like metal, like how do you stay creative and inspired when money's riding on it?
And there's other chefs in the kitchen, and there's other people watching over your shoulder. I
was a photographer and for one of my gigs, and I remember doing a bunch of editorial, and at one point they were like, "Can you do this shoot like Terry Richardson?" And I'm like, "Well, why don't you get Terry Richardson to do it?" You know what I mean? And because I didn't need the money at that point.
Yeah.
But now I'd be like, okay, well, I'll shoot it like Terry Richardson, I guess,
I hear you. I
like, how do you feel good about creating? I don't know. Maybe at least, I'm not being authentic to like the reason why I started,
I mean, I've always said that if I was still doing leather, what I'm doing now, because I fell into this. This was just completely random. If I'm still doing this when I'm 50, fucking somebody please shoot me in the face.
Yeah.
And this is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
And I think better than ever. And
Yeah.
I'm super grateful that I'm able to still do it.
Yes.
There are those times when I'm like, fuck, like, I was talking to another buddy of mine who's a musician, and he's like, well, 30 years, wow. I mean, if you look at Levi's or somebody like, and he's basically saying, shouldn't you be at a whole nother level? And I'm like, bro, yes, I should. And we've all had our hard knocks throughout times, and I'm like, but I'm super grateful to be where I'm at now.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really compare what you do to someone else, like Levi's Strauss. I mean, has that family even been a part of, like that? I mean, that's big business getting their mitts on
sure,
on
or
guy's
even
idea.
The Von Dutch guys or any of those guys that like came in and hit huge and then popped out, and Christian.
Yeah, I mean, Von Dutch wasn't even a part of that.
Right.
I mean, that was Christian.
Yeah.
Taking over
Totally.
and blowing it up.
And
he was.
Huge.
God rest his soul. He was nuts. And
but he knew what the fuck he was doing, and I was around at that time.
I don't even know if he did. You know what I mean? He was just like he's a very big dreamer, and like, we should do this and we should do that, and I'm sure the people were like, I don't think he ever thought about people or money. Like he was just like he threw a million things at the wall to see what would stick.
Well, he hit on something. I mean, we were around
sure.
at the same time, and I was kind of looking. I'm going, dude, this guy's fucking
Christian Audiger. He was
he licensed Von Dutch's name, right?
Yeah. Well, there was a bunch of partners, and then Christian Audiger came in to kind of oversee the design. So he put the t-shirt, the very simple t-shirt designs together, and then the denim. So the denim, I remember we did some selvage denim, but just basic, like denim at that point was sold just perfect, right? It was dark and perfect. They would go through a few wash cycles and a few bleach cycles, and then every pair had a Dremel tool, like in the same spot, so it looked like an old pair of jeans, and that was all his brainstorm. And he came from, I believe it was Guess.
Oh, did he come from? I never knew that.
Anyway, but he, he was borderline insane, in my opinion. I don't know who. I don't care who comes after me, at this point. But he had some great ideas that obviously worked. They were the biggest clothing brand at the time for a good year or two.
Oh yeah, they hit hard.
And then he left, and he would throw these parties, and then he left and did the same thing with Ed Hardy. You know, and neither Von Dutch or Ed Hardy were fashion guys.
Right.
You know, they were, you know, Von Dutch was a car guy, car culture. And Ed Hardy was just a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's where Adoje came in with, he had his finger on the pulse of pop culture.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He knew what was. I
don't know if he really knew what he was doing. He was just trying to create just something cool for the people, you know, I don't know.
Wow. Well, it's crazy. I mean, if you think back now, I mean, you were even if you were working there, you're part of that whole, you know, when I look back of I don't know, my life or take stock of things and having been around at certain periods of time, you know, Kushner and I were just talking about,
that's where I met Kushner, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was folding jeans as I did. And he came in with Velvet Revolver.
Okay.
And they were Christian, you know, like Christian made sure that all the new bands were swagged out. You know, they got all the free jeans and T-shirts, and people would see it on MTV, and then boom, everyone had to have it.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
that's where that's where I think I probably ended up fucking up. I just didn't have enough of a foundation to know, or the finances to know, like, give out all this stuff to, at that point. But Dave and I were talking the other day about an old band called Mother Tongue. Did you know those guys?
Yeah. That guitar player went to the Chili Peppers for a minute.
A hot second.
Yeah.
Jesse Tobias.
Yes.
I worked with Jesse at Music Plus for like a year.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going back to the taking stock in, like, because Kush is like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, we worked together at Music Plus. And then he got the audition, and we were like, dude, you got to audition for these guys. And then he got the gig for like a month.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and the rest is whatever. But thinking of those times, those pivotal times in Hollywood history, the lore, the whatever, the Von Dutch era, you know, the this and that, you're just like, it's kind of fun because I don't know. I mean, everybody's going to have their history, but I don't know that there's a lot of that old school kind of Hollywood or that old school kind of Hollywood music scene really happening much now or anymore.
I was just out there earlier this week, and there's definitely not.
The vibe's gone.
The vibe's gone. I don't know if there's any kind of community. Like on Melrose, there was that community. They threw parties, and all the local bands would show up. Even like the 90s, in late 80s, even like had a real tangible scene, you know, like.
I think you nailed it. And that's one thing that's bothered me with the evolution of phones and social media and instant access is the lack of something tangible. Like I think of my niece or your son who's 10, like, no more CDs, no more cassettes, no more records, unless they go analog. But like, those were the days of like opening up the
niche,
record,
right?
like,
so, I mean, like we still release vinyl, but it's very limited, you know, because a little bit that scene came back. Our European label, Earache, they create these little packages where it has a player, it has cards that, you know, like you can get into. So you put the music on the player, and you can go through like an old school album. It's not an album, but, you know, we also releasing vinyl, you know, so you can have that experience, you know, which kids now, because they stream, everyone streams now, they don't get that experience. The cover art, which artists usually spend hours and hours and hours on, is now a 1x1 inch square.
It's bananas
on or less on iTunes or Spotify.
And kids don't care.
Yeah.
We want to look up and what's the band wearing and what are they playing and what are the lyrics? And it's like there was an actual like maybe a record that told a story. Like now everything's just like fucking hit. And that started to change around the late 90s into the 2000s where the companies were like, well, where's the radio playable song? I mean, they always wanted that, but like I think the loss of the actual, where the vibe just kind of started to change, which then takes me to, you mentioned playing guitar, like AC/DC, Page, Hendrix, like the greats. These were the people that inspired you to want to be who you are today.
Yeah.
And what do these kids today have to look forward to unless they're going back and learning their history, if they're, or their musical history?
I think it's, they're just getting it in a different place, so where we would find it on albums or maybe MTV, there's YouTube, which is deep, wide, and vast of information, videos, visual, and they can learn. I going back to learn some of this Van Halen stuff, there is just like, if you want to play like Page or Eddie Van Halen, or the information is there, note for note, tabbed out, and they can show you, and they have a speed, the adjustable speed on the video.
Really?
So there's no limits on the information you can get. I think because of the way radio is and the internet, rock is really taking a back seat to everything. And hopefully it won't become this footnote like blues or jazz. It's just very specific, like genre specific, and only those people like it. But the rest of the world really listens to pop and hip hop.
It's crazy. Rosie's niece, there was a period in her life. I want to say she was like 13, 14, 15. Like Rosie would give her all her old like rock shirts, and she'd be wearing, Doors, and like she was like the little, rock kid.
Yeah.
But in school, the teacher came out after summer break, and she's like, "Okay, what did everybody, listen to? Like, who in here likes rock?" And she said she was the only one who raised her hand, and I'm like, tell me rock is not dead. And I don't think it is, because it's still inspiring all of the other stuff, and there's a big, huge amalgamation. Country.
Well, that's where rock lives now. Like, I've written several songs, got cuts on albums with country artists that I got. All right, let me back up a little bit. About 10 years ago, we did a song with Gretchen Wilson.
Okay.
And everyone slammed the door in our face. Like, it didn't get played on country radio because of those Buckcherry guys. I think Nashville back then is as early as 10 years ago was a very good old boy, closed door kind of, only us get to do this. Now, I think since Kenny Chesney has been a big rock guy, I think now there's Brantley Gilbert, there's Hardy, there's all these guys that are literally playing rock, active rock, and with a country twang on the vocal. There's no fiddle in it. There's no pedal steel. It's straight up rock music.
Yeah, it's not even a hybrid. Yeah, I gotcha.
I think Shania Twain, when she was with Mutt Lange, her sound, I mean, it was country, but it was really pop rock, like.
Well, working with Mutt, I mean, I said working with Mutt, you would have to.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you not have a rock sound? Yeah,
like sounds like Def Leppard. He was coming off the success of Def Leppard and all the 80s, Here comes Shania with that sound. And so the world, country music starts. So then, fast forward 20 years, my phone starts ringing. We want that, like that Buckcherry guitar, So I end up writing, 10, 12 songs for country artists.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
when you sit down to write a song for a country artist, are you just writing out the guitar licks? Are you writing the whole the whole structure, the whole song?
What I'll start with is the way I work. I work with a guy named Marty Fredrickson.
Okay.
He heads up this little collective called the Four Horsemen.
Okay.
And what I do is, like, you need a riff for so-and-so? Okay. I'll write, just like we do for my band, is I'll write a verse, pre-chorus, and a chorus. And I'll flesh it out. Like, I'll do the drums, the guitar. So that'll kind of set the template. And then I'll put bass on it or bells and whistles or whatever, you know.
So you're writing the whole thing.
Well, I'm not doing vocals.
Right, no lyrics.
I let usually the singer kind of have their, you know, their process with it. You know, so lyrics and melody will come from the artist or Marty.
And are you writing, continually writing? Like, do you have a roster of like music that's like ready to, you know, be picked up?
I always, I try and stay fluid. Like right now I have, I've done the country stuff and then just did the Buckcherry album. And then there's that sync music that I'm with a publishing company out of Nashville, and they have a sync license office out of LA. So if you don't know what that is, they usually place music in, let's say, commercials or incidental music on the internet, or
more than just jingles, or is
it's like just composing, you know, like short pieces for TV underneath, or commercial jingles or whatever.
Does that just get thrown into like a stock pile, and then if somebody hears it and goes, wow.
When I'm not working on one of those artists, I'm just stockpiling, like, okay, I'll get this treatment, like, okay, it wants to, give me an EP, 4 or 5 songs of something that sounds like so-and-so, you know? So I'll do all the music, keyboards, guitars, you know, horns, strings, whatever, and I'll sing, or if it needs vocals, and I'll do groups of music like that.
You know, I've heard people talk like that throughout the years, where you're a guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. You know, then I threw the keys on and I did the horns and this. Okay, where did you learn all of those in the process of all of this life stuff? Like, well, I mean, you just pick it up over years?
I think it's, you know, being a music fan.
Sure.
You know, like, I think growing up and you listen to, you just listen to everything. I was a pop radio kid, you know, so, and then later got into funk and blues and R&B. And then later, I you know, like, I like it all. I can't do the jazz thing.
Sure.
Because I'm not schooled enough. But I did play piano as a kid and trumpet. So I know how those layers work in a pop song, you know, or even pseudo classical, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. So, okay. I've always wondered. I'm like, because people just go, yeah, you know, it's like, you know, so I spoke French and then I would switch over to German or whatever. And it's like, that shit takes years to learn, but you had a foundation.
Yeah. If you understand the way right hand, left hand works on piano, you can arrange horn parts or string parts.
Really?
In my opinion.
Man,
you know? I've told basic ones.
Yeah.
Basic ones.
I've told this story before, but like I'm that kind of guy that I need to be shown like guitar. Like, I suck at guitar. Like, if I have instruction and somebody tells me how to do it, I'll practice the shit out of it, and then I'm a pretty quick study, but I'm not self-motivated. I cannot.
Yeah. That's just the difference between, you know, like this guy and that guy. You know, like, one guy really wants to keep going and is self-motivated to keep going, you know? Like, I mean, that's what you did with Red Monkey, you know? Like, you have an affinity for fashion and leather and how all of that comes together, you know what I mean?
Well, it was the lack of knowledge. It was the lack of knowledge that inspired me, and the just needing to fucking do something and
to
try
create
and make money.
Like, but once it starts, locking, then you're like, oh, and then you keep going, you like creating, and then you get put it out there, and you get this reaction, positive reaction, and then that's more fuel for the fire.
Sure.
So same thing with music.
You had said something earlier that I actually had written down in my notes to ask you about. You said that Buckcherry sound, the country people were coming like, yeah, we wanted that Buck.
Yeah.
Where did you get your tone? The Buckcherry sound. Where did you? Because everybody's got their own little signature sound. Like
I think it's a lot of it is just, it's a combination of all the things that inspired me growing up, or us growing up. So, which was largely the 70s guitar rock, late 60s, 70s, even 80s. I still, when I go set my amp, if I'm working whatever amp it is, and I know I'm doing a rock and roll song, I got to first figure out what kind of rock is it. Is it like Guns N' Roses or Buckcherry or AC/DC, or is it more 80s, or is it 90s, or is it 2000s, but if it's like a Buckcherry thing, I just immediately go to the settings that I used when I was a kid. It's a Gibson into a Marshall, and then I know where each knob goes, and then just a few
start tweaking from there.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, Mike Campbell, Tom Petty. Okay. He just came out with his new book.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to get him on the show one of these days, but he narrates the book, and he's talking about, I'm in this spot where he's talking about needing to evolve their sound. And when he went and found this guy was selling a Rickenbacker, he thought it was I think a 12 string, and for $200 on like in the paper.
Right.
And he went and he goes, the guitar was not what he thought it was going to be at all. And he's like, I'll give you $150. And the guy was like, yeah, fine, take it. And I guess now it's like,
$40,000 guitar.
Oh, more. And they've used it to model, I guess they only made like 70 of them or something. Right. But that Rickenbacker sound kind of was what kind of fell into the whole Tom Petty thing, because Tom Petty had been using one of his old Fenders through like an old Tweed, and it was just some gear that they had picked up over time. And then he's like, no. So I've always been curious about like what creates that sound. So you start with a Marshall and a Les Paul.
I mean, what creates that
for you, for your vibe?
If someone were to ask me, what creates a Buckcherry sound? When it's all said and done, you can change a lot of what the foundation is. But if you hear the skinny tattooed guy singing, that's what it is. I mean, it's unmistakable. I'm not being conceited, but there's no one that sounds like Josh.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, there's guys that are in the same, I guess, I don't know, universe, but for better, for worse, no one sounds like him. And that's what our sound is. There's been member changes, throughout the years. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people notice that those players are different as long as Josh is showing up. You know what I mean?
I get that.
I think as far as the foundation is, if you get a 4 on the floor kind of drummer, rock and roll drummer, he's got to rock, but he's got to remember how to roll, right? And you get a Gibson into a Marshall, that's part of the foundation.
That's the foundation.
Like that people around 130 BPM, that's signature Buckcherry.
That's signature Buckcherry. I love it. I mean, I just like what migrated you to this is just getting into nerdy shit, but like you said AC/DC, and I think Angus Young, and I think an SG, but you talk about Les Pauls.
I play them both.
I've always been a fan of SGs just because of the fucking looks.
Yeah. I mean, it's some people don't love them, like I love SGs, but what the signature Buckcherry sound is something I feel like hasn't been talked about a lot ever, but there's an open tuning. It's an open G tuning, and Keith Nelson. It wasn't the first time anyone used it, but he used it in a rock and roll song. Used it with a slide and dimed out a plexi, and that anytime I hear that tuning, it sounds like Buckcherry to me, you know, and that's I know I'm in the band, but so I try and throw that in there, you know, even though I'm not playing that live in the recordings, I use it because that's the sound, you know.
I mean, I always just get fascinated as a creative, just the finding where people's footing is. You just met Ryan, and he's got a very signature style of photography and cinematography, and like where people's style comes in, you know, and I now have found my style out over the years, but it's like, I think when people are learning their craft, mastering their craft, you know, like finding your style, your tone, or your kind of your signature, the sauce that makes you, you know, who you are, you know, because there's a million guitar players. Yeah. You know, there's a million guys that play Les Pauls through Marshalls, but like every dude, if you really like get down to it, you know, we know Tone Iommi has a certain sound because of his fingers accident, you know, like there's reasons why some guys have a certain sound and then others are just, you just can't even pinpoint it. It's just that. Yeah. You know?
I think as an artist in general, getting your own style is the toughest thing. Yeah. Like there again, you have to split. A lot of people start off with, I want to do what people want or like they're into, you know, I want to show them that I can do that. But then there's also comes a point where the integrity of wanting to sound like yourself and want to be authentic to that. I hate that word authentic. I it's like a buzzword that I feel like is being said like every 2 minutes, but it's the truth. It like creating that signature sound, or it few guys have done it. Like Eddie Van Halen's done it, Hendrix has done it, Stevie Ray Vaughan has done it.
Like from the second they start, you're like,
yeah, like you can do it in one note.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like love him or hate him, Yngwie Malmsteen's another guy. Like a lot of guys say like there's no soul in his playing, and it's you know, like I can do that. Anyone who I've seen try and play like him doesn't sound like him. Yeah. You know, he's got a thing, you know, and I know it's him without seeing him play.
It's that scalloped fretboard.
Yeah. Yeah. See, maybe it's a scalloped fretboard, you know, like, but he's got a certain finesse in his hands. Yeah. Like if you look at his right hand, it's barely moving, you know, like it's very economy. Man. So I don't know.
I always this one thing I wish I would have been a guitar player. Like, I'm like guitar player adjacent because I do, you know, the straps, but I'm just like, I love it so much. And
you do what you do is amazing. I mean, look at all this stuff. I'm like, I'm always drawn to it. Come to think of it, I think I had one of these belts.
Well, those are 45 caliber shells that I took from the,
look at that.
The shooting alley.
How creative is that?
Yeah, you know.
Dude.
Go to the gun range and then you look down and you're like, wait, these shell casings would make a great wallet chain.
Yeah.
And then I normally would put a hook and a clasp on there.
Yeah. How does that go in there?
I just threw it up there for my part of my set. Yeah. You're ruining my set now.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. If I'm not mistaken, in 2021, did you have an acting cameo somewhere?
Me, no. Josh has been the actor.
Has he been the actor?
Yeah,
you've been in a lot of videos, though, right?
Yeah, Josh has been. He's been acting with Val Kilmer, who just passed.
Oh man,
he did Salt and Sea with him. He's in like The New Guy. He's done a bunch of TV stuff. But yeah, I've never a cameo.
I thought I read up on something that you had done like Punky Brewster.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't. I did not. You can't find that.
No.
Yeah, I did. It was COVID.
Oh God, I'm so glad I'm like.
And I was not working.
Is this a no-go zone?
No, I mean, I told you that there is, that we can talk about anything. Yeah, I did it.
Hey, own it.
Yeah, I did an episode, and she is super cool. And same with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Really?
And I was the guitar player in his band.
In his band?
Yeah, so they dressed up, punk rock guy. Shaved head. I think it had a shaved head back then.
I love it.
But they were super sweet, and I made enough money to buy groceries that week.
Perfect.
So
I mean, hey, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
If you were to go back and talk to your
15-year-old
self,
or 21,
whichever you pick, what would you, if you had some advice to give yourself starting out again?
Starting out, like
maybe the first day you hit LA, you'd be like, motherfucker, you better do this different.
I'm not going to say the word authentic, but I just did. But I would just, I would really stick to your guns, like find something that you love and stick to that. And don't let distractions like people, places, and things get in the way of what you love doing. Drugs and alcohol, even. That was a big one for me. Just work hard. I mean, you will get there. You will get there. Just work hard, Yeah.
That's one of the things that I keep kind of trying to emphasize with these is, speaking with folks, the common theme is that, you created a foundation for yourself. And so many people now they want to have the instant hit.
Yeah.
And it's like, they might get it, but then where does it go? I mean, look, I can sit here and I can go, well, yeah, I didn't make the kind of money that the Von Dutch brand or Ed Hardy or anything did. They were flashing the pan.
This compound here is pretty impressive.
I'm in 30 years and I'm still here. I'm still, and it's not, it's like,
where's Von Dutch?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I can sit here and go, well, I didn't hit it like that, but I mean, I'm happy to be,
slow and steady wins the race.
Right.
I'm
not mad at it.
Yeah. I think, Buckcherry came out, was successful, went away, came back out, was successful. And now
you guys are on your 11th record?
We're on our 11th record.
Coming out soon.
Yeah. It comes out June 13th. Next single comes out May. We've been making new music every couple of years.
Fucking huge.
We created a road business that we can go anywhere in the world and play our music, without radio. So we've sold a lot of records.
That's amazing.
And so I think just staying true to what you do and working hard, you'll win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, what is success now? It's hard to define in rock music because it's very different than it was in the 80s, 90s, even 2000s or, 10 years ago. Like we can go out and play and support our families and enjoy our lives. So,
I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. Stevie D, thanks so much for popping in and giving us your wisdom and knowledge.
I really enjoyed speaking with you.
We need to get you some straps.
I
need to get you some straps.
Yeah, dude. I'll rock one any day of the week.
Okay.
I just have the basic stuff. I just got a new guitar. So maybe it's like a burnt weathered orange.
Dude.
Yeah. So
like a relic?
Yeah.
Relic, you said it was a Charvel?
Yeah. Charvel, Sandy, what is it? ProMod, Sandemus, Shred Machine.
That's a little departure from a Les Paul.
Yeah, I posted a video this morning in my stories, and I got like 20 texts about, dude, what's up? Like, what do you mean, what's up? It's a guitar, but it's not then, I guess the normal, what I've been playing for the last million years. So.
Yeah, you got to take a Charvel through what, a Bogner? Or
yeah. No, I'm actually using a Quad Cortex now for touring. And I put that through Marshall Sounds.
Okay.
And but yeah, for me, it's I'm kind of revisiting my teenage years when everyone was using Charvels and I didn't have one, and just
bring it back, baby.
Yeah. It's like a hot rod, and you get it in your hands. These are vintage guitars now too,
Totally.
So, but we get it in your hands, and it's like, oh, this is so fun, So
oh man,
I'm going with it. I'm gonna play it because I love it, and you'll see it sounds amazing. So
that's so awesome. Well, dude, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. And, so where can people find you? Find about your tours?
I'm at Buckcherry
on
Instagram, at Buckcherry on Facebook, at Stevie Dacanay on Facebook, and
spell that out.
Instagram, Stevie, and that's Dacanay.
Okay.
And then we have a new album coming out. It's called Roar Like Thunder. June 13th is the drop date. The next, we have the single out, Roar Like Thunder, right now. Go to YouTube. And then May 13, our next single comes out.
Dude.
So
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
Have me.
Cool.
Brother.
All right. Hey, this is Tori. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and we will catch you on the next one.